welcome back to another bonus episode. And like I said the last time, you guys voted in the polls on Instagram. You wanted more spicy topics, and you didn't want to make the comments of what spicy topics. So I'm taking a stab with more lifestyle couples. And I got one again here today. What's up, guys? How are you?
We're doing pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, we're having a good day.
It's the holidays, right? So we're, what, 6 or 7 days out from the holidays. So like that stress is about to be over.
Yeah.
So jumping straight into it, we've talked to a couple of lifestyle people on this show before. We talked to a lot of sex educators and things like that. So like they're familiar with this like topic, but for everybody to kind of get to know what your style is, what do you guys describe as your dynamic?
Well, our dynamic is, I guess to preface is there's a large window of lifestyle dynamics. Everybody thinks, swingers are swingers and it is what it is, but there's dozens and dozens of different dynamics, and then as with anything, they oftentimes change with time. So we are very much happy with each other, but like to have fun in a physical way with others as well. So I don't know how you want.
We typically are a same room couple that we play with other couples. Our main dynamic is playing with females because I am bi, he is straight. Mm-hmm. So that's typically the realm we go. We do play with unicorns from time to time. It just kind of depends. We enjoy group play, which is 5 or more people at a time as well. So it just kind of depends on the vibe of the night and how it goes. But we're also just down for meeting people and talking and being friends.
Yeah. When I was like trying to set this up, you said you're like the newbie whisperer, and I like absolutely loved that you said it that way, because like I think everybody needs somebody like that, and like just the vibe that I get from you two is that you're down to earth, you're chill, and it's not like it's not even about the pressure, it's just about the way that you are as like humans. It doesn't, it just feels good. And I think that that's a trait that like you kind of have to be like good people like to start to like come across that way.
Yeah, and coming into the LS, it's kind of intimidating as crap at first. So having people that can kind of guide you without attempting to get in your pants is kind of nice. And so it's kind of what we try to be for new people. And just give them a little bit of a break. And then there's a lot of vocabulary in our world that no one knows outside of our world. So
yeah. Speaking of which, that's a perfect segue into this question. What is your earliest memory of the lifestyle? Like, as in before the two of you decided to like jump in, what was the very first thing that exposed you to this way of life?
You've had more experience with it than I do. He was my first experience into it. He told me about it, and we've explored it since then. We've been together for almost 3 years now. But you had experiences with your ex-wife with it.
Yeah, it started with I had a friend who him and his wife were in the lifestyle, and so we hung out with them a lot and got exposed to some things, and then these kind of experimentation began to happen. And then when I got with Des, she's bi, and I was like, well, I can't give you that sort of sensation or feeling, so I'm not going to say you can't have something that you crave. So we started exploring into finding that outlet for her. And so when we were dating, we started off just going to a couple of club and social events. And so we started finding people that vibed with us and that we got along with. And now here we are at a point where Des has kind of been placed in a position of, hey, take charge of the situation.
Yeah. And at first I would not have been at all. I was incredibly shy. Our first lifestyle club, I didn't talk to anybody. My husband was kind of like, hey, come meet this person. And no, I was totally out of place at first. But now that I've kind of found my comfort zone.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that, and talking to you before about this, like I was super curious about is what like kind of pushed you into being the newbie whisperer. Like what was the thing that was like, you know what, I'm going to be this person because, I wish I had that person. Like, what was it?
That's exactly it. Is I wish I had someone to help kind of guide me through, because I do have a lot of anxiety and the what ifs and just unknowns. I don't want someone else to have to go through that. So being able to ease someone's anxiety starting out this was my reasoning.
Yeah. I think that I'm a coach. I coach roller derby. I do a lot. I was in like retail management for a while, and I've always kind of been like one of those people that like, even when I don't want to be a leader, I end up being a leader. But like, I look at it as I want to be the thing that I didn't have, because I feel like I can make an experience better, or I can make this thing simpler for you to navigate and get the best out of it. And hearing people do that in different facets of life is kind of the like salt of the earth people that need to be, like out here saying, no, look, we exist. Like, we want to make sure people, like, they're gatekeepers suck. People that are, trying to stop you from doing something fun, those people suck. Come find people like me.
Yeah. And I'm pretty accepting and open to anybody. And that's what I wanted. So yeah, I totally agree. And outside of this, I'm a nurse in the real world. So educating and teaching's just natural to me.
Yeah, that explains the like calm demeanor. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So being interested in something different, and I put air quotes around different than your partner, is what hangs most people up about the lifestyle. And like, I'm curious, how did you manage that coming into it? And you said Jason has a little bit more experience than you, but like, how did you both navigate that, especially at the beginning?
So we were very open when we first started dating. We've had a lot of failed relationships, and we came into it saying, hey, we're very screwed up people, and we don't want to go through this again if it's just going to be screwed up again. So at the very beginning of our relationship, we kind of went through this, we call it our 10 for 10. So 10 worst qualities of each other. And we told each other, we're like, if you can't deal with that, then we're not going to be together. So unlike most couples who just kind of fall head over heels, we were very raw with each other and just weren't willing to tolerate another failed relationship. So that made it, I think, a big difference for us.
Yeah. And then it swings into the ongoing lifestyle stuff. It's about communication. Most people in the lifestyle aren't fully communicating with their partner what they want or how they feel. There's a lot of I'm going to keep to myself to not rock the boat.
Yeah, to like protect their partner's feelings.
Oh, and a lot of resentment builds if you're not communicating and if you're not being heard. So, for the relationship to function well, a lot of open and real communication has to happen about what's the expectations are when something doesn't go to plan, and how to deal with it and not be resentful towards each other. Because, things happen, especially in the moment. You include, if you're drinking and not, fully clear-headed, and you make moves or say things that doesn't sit right with the other, and you're like, well, let's see how that plays out. And some people get hurt feelings because of misunderstandings, or sometimes you unearth things that you didn't know you had to work out, and you get to find out it's like, oh, there's another level to our relationship that we need to work on to be successful.
Yeah. So, you got to go in not thinking your partner's the enemy. If there's an issue that pops up, you can't just say, oh, it's your fault that this failed. It's, you have the emotions, you have the feelings, you just got to talk it through with your person. And unfairness does happen from time to time, but it's got to even out.
Yeah. So with the 10 for 10 thing, that's just like relationship, like Advice 101. I love that. How did that come about? Like, was it like you were sitting there just like brainstorming how to do stuff, or was it like?
No, I was married for 16 years and went through a pretty rough divorce. And then I tried dating for a little while, and I got so sick and fed up of dating that I'd given up. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to focus on myself and my kids. And then when my kids are older, maybe I'll look into it. And then I kind of encountered Des, and things started happening, and fun times turned into she wanted something more serious. I said, well, I'm at a point where I don't want to invest any time or effort in anything that isn't worth it. So I want to know right now, I'm going to give you the 10 worst things. And it's, as someone who wasn't looking for a relationship,
he was brutal.
I intentionally sabotaged it because I wanted it to be the worst possible version of me there could be.
Because it does happen. Yeah. They do come out.
And it was like, if you can handle this, and nothing about this is going to be an issue in the future, or that you are willing to work over these things should they arise again, because we're beings of patterns. We oftentimes recreate our own problems and things. And she gave me hers, and I said, I don't really see much of those as that problematic. It seems like you'd never really had support. I said, I can handle yours. And she said, I can handle yours. And so I said, okay, I'll give it a whirl. And then we dated and were serious for a while. And then we were spending every single day together and every single night together. So we moved in, and then eventually we got married.
Yeah.
So with all of that going on, it worked out.
And we've been in the lifestyle since we started dating. It wasn't something that we really introduced into our relationship. And a lot of people introduce it years into their relationship. So we don't have that dynamic or understanding.
Yeah. I was just actually listening to a podcast earlier. I don't remember. I had the day off because my kid was sick. So I cleaned the house listening to spicy podcasts, because that's what you do as an adult now. So they were talking about it, and that was the thing, is there was a couple who I think she said they had been together for 20, or been in the lifestyle for 25 years, and they started out in the lifestyle way back when. And I think that seems to be the newer, I guess, wave of it. It seems like there's a lot of people that are second marriage, and they met through the lifestyle, or they met and were you know what, I need these things, and I know that I can't get them from just this one situation, and that's okay. Right. If you're not okay with that, then I found what I need in life. If you're not on board, then I don't need that. And I think that it's awesome that you both walked into it and found that and looked at each other's lists and were like, okay. So that's awesome.
I got this. We can figure that out.
Yeah. So jumping to the excitement of after play, or after you go to a party or a club or something, how long would you say the excitement lasts after you play with other partners? When you reconnect, do you have a particular habit or a thing that you like to do as a couple to make sure that you get that time?
Typically after we have an encounter with others or groups or whatever, we typically do a reconnect that night once we get home, because we're all still, high energy, super turned on from the experience and everything. And depending on what happened or whatever, sometimes we'll talk about it for days, or we'll talk about ooh, did you see her, or did you see these people doing this? And, the excitement just kind of builds, if we go to a party and there's 20 people there, it's it might not be enough to talk about for very long. We go to a party with 180 people there, there might have been a lot of stuff. And so we revisit that and keep that as fresh excitement topics for a while. Or
it's about a week or two that we usually reconnect in some sort of facet of it, whether it's bringing up play topics while we're having sex, or it's just throughout the day texting each other, do you remember But it definitely keeps our relationship quite spicy on a regular basis.
Or we'll see a couple that we thought were interesting, but we didn't get a chance to play with. So, the next event will be like, ooh, is such and such going to be there? And then we need to make a point to like try and meet up with them or catch up with them. Mm-hmm. So sometimes the excitement's like, oh, well, they've missed, the last couple, meetups. And so now here we are 3 months later, we're like, oh, we get to run into them again and have fun. So.
And then there's like pre-fantasies before the event happens. If we have someone we're interested in, we usually go into it like before we play and then fantasize during that time. Mm-hmm. I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah. So with a pre-fantasy, is that something that like, it has, because a lot of these events are like on the schedule for, like a month in advance or longer. So with the pre-fantasy, is it one of those things where like, it's like the week leading up to, or is there like, such and such is going to be there. So, it could be that entire time, that event is coming.
Usually about the week leading up to it, because we go to events about once a month. And so to like ebb and flow with it, it's like we have fantasy play for about a week before, and then after the actual event happens, it's usually a couple weeks after, we're bringing up old topics, and then it's time for the next event to come up. So then we're looking online to see who's going, or we're talking to our group, because we run a Facebook group now that has a vast amount of people, and we're trying to figure out who's going, and then that new fantasy formulates. So, and not always do the fantasies occur, but they're just fun to talk about.
Yeah. So when it comes to like communication and, that obviously is like probably the most important aspect of any relationship, but especially a relationship that has, the extra outside pressures. Is there one way of communication that you both feel like works best for you, or do you have like completely opposite ways of communicating? Like one of you is a text messenger and the other is like a direct, I want to talk to you and look you in your eyeballs.
You hit the nail on the head. When we started, that was it. She likes to think about her words and her phrases, and she likes to do text. And I'm a little older and old fashioned, so I hate real conversations text, because there's no tone. I can't pick up on what you're actually saying, because for me, I'm a very engaged communicator. So reading a text message is flat, and I don't really know what it means, or I don't understand, is there sarcasm or whatever in it. So she wants the time to actually see it, read it, and think it out, that it's what she's actually trying to say. Mm-hmm. She hears her tone, but I can't hear it. So, and then I would want to have conversations face to face, and she wasn't ready for that. So in the beginning, when we were struggling with that, we would have conversations in the dark. Yep. That way she didn't have to look at me and freak out about talking to me face to face, but I could still hear her tone.
Yep.
And so she could take as much time as she needed to say what she wanted, but I could hear the tone behind her message. Uh-huh. And so we've grown and evolved and become better communicators from every little verbal scuffle and emotional.
Right. You've gotten better at texting with me, and I've gotten better at openly talking. Yeah. I think one of our like newest things is attempting to look at our situations with curiosity instead of with anger. Don't just immediately get angry with your person. Try to figure out why it's going that direction. Because like initially it hurts, and you don't always understand why. And then just asking questions can clarify. But I don't know, we're human.
I love that we started out this as like we're gonna have like a lifestyle conversation, and you guys are just dropping like relationship knowledge bombs on everybody with like the 10 for 10 and like having conversations in the dark. Like I've never thought of that, but it makes so much sense.
You have to have a strong relationship to be successful in the lifestyle.
Yeah, we often tell people is like we don't want to be really partnering up and meeting people who walk in the door and then separate out.
Yeah.
It's like, we want you to love your partner. Those are the people we want to engage. But that's not that. Other people are in it for different reasons. And some people, it is just pure raw physicalness. And if it's working for them, that's fine. But that's not our dynamic. We want you and your partner to have a loving relationship, to be interested in each other, because that's our turn on. We're lovers in a sense. We also want to be with people who have that level of love for their partner.
Yeah, that's one rule that people tend to get weirded out by. It's you have to love your partner.
Yeah. I always think it's also funny, and I don't know if your dynamic is this way because you both seem pretty like well spoken, but like me and my wife, we couldn't be more opposite. Like I host a podcast, so obviously I don't mind talking to random people at random times. She is the entirely opposite of that. She is like, I don't want to talk to a single person. And then once she gets to know somebody, she might be like, oh, okay, like I know this person, I can talk to them. But like her and her best friend have matching stickers that say I hate you the least, because they're just not like and it always makes me laugh. So like, are both of you, the social butterfly, or is one more reserved and like navigates the situations when you go somewhere? Or
it's different in different scenarios. So I am the social butterfly through texting and like meeting people. I'm usually the one who does like the pre-vetting of who we hang out with. And then he hates talking to people pre-meeting. And then when we get there, he's the social butterfly.
Yeah, I'm a to-your-face person. So in person is where I like to be, and I can talk to anybody. But when I show up somewhere, I usually take a minute to kind of look around, feel the vibe, and then decide if I'm just going to hang out on the fringe or if I'm going to jump right into the meat of a party. Because she started off so shy that I had to jump to that forefront to get the engagement of others that that we were looking for, really. So it's kind of just ebb and flow. Some days she's more of the social person. Some days I'm more of the social person. When it comes to texting and online stuff, she excels.
I've gotten a lot better with in-person communication. I'm definitely more of a social butterfly. Whenever we like go to parties, we typically have people flock to our area just for like the comfortable feeling that we provide.
That's what I said. You guys just you have that vibe about you, and like I think that's those couples tend to like be the ones that you want. Like, it's not about like I want to go to grab a beer with this couple, or I want to go to the bar with that couple because they're like exciting and fun and crazy stuff. I feel safe with them, so I know like if I have a conversation or we go anywhere, regardless of whether it was like a wild time, it's always going to be like, that was fun. I needed that, and you guys have that vibe, so I think that's good. Also, Jason, are you an empath? Because you're putting out empath vibes when it comes to needing to see people and feeling the energy of a room.
Well, you roughly said it earlier. When you don't necessarily want to be a leader, but you're constantly being put in a leadership position. So I've got most of my life has been that way. I never wanted to, but after nobody doing proper leadership or whatever, you just kind of step up. And then after you're doing it long enough, it just becomes second nature just to kind of take charge with it. So I'm kind of a caregiver, mentality. And so it just kind of ends up going that way is I want everyone to have a good time, because I don't want anyone's bad time to make everyone's time bad too. So you have to be comfortable. And I've always been out there and willing to say and do things most people aren't. So it's like, oh, well, if that guy's going to just be super raw and truthful and honest on 5 minutes of meeting him, maybe I can say some stuff too. And that's just kind of how I live.
I host a podcast, so I feel you. I am all in. If we're going to have a conversation, I'm not watering myself down to, sake of whatever. Cause like, what's the point? Like we all got only so many seconds, and why am I wasting any of them not doing what not being me and authentically? So there's that.
That's what we've decided with life in general, that we're just not going to be anything but us.
I love that. So we're going to move to, I guess, the spiciest question I have. What is the hottest moment you've had? And thank your partner for giving you the opportunity and space to have.
Probably our first night. That's probably my favorite. The first night we went to book club, that was the night that I was like not willing to talk to anybody. Jason met a bunch of people, which is really weird for single men to have to like talk to people. Even though he's not a single guy, I just wasn't willing to get out there yet. But he made friends with a very good group of people, and we ended up all getting into the pool, and I finally had like a couple of drinks and I got comfortable. And one of the girls was like, let's go downstairs. And so we all headed downstairs, and it was 7 of us. And we were out on the big open bed, and we had the best experience. It was 4 ladies and 3 guys, and we just kind of like all intermingled between each other. And it didn't go any further than a soft swap with the group, but it was still probably like the highlight of our all of our other experiences.
That's kind of sweet, actually.
Yeah. He just like made sure that starting the LS was going to be a positive experience for me.
Just seems like a super like caring, like you got the beard and the like imposing stature, but like a big teddy bear is what I'm getting.
Yep, he's very lovey. I'm pretty lucky.
So this is a quote from you. It's like, we have the freedom to be ourselves and also receiving things our partners can't supply in a healthy way. I'm going to put a comma in supply, or can't supply, comma, in a healthy way. How has that impacted you both?
So I'm not into the really rough stuff. Like, some spankings are fun or whatever. Some kind of, tossing the body around is kind of fun, but I don't do the choking and the slapping and stuff like that. For me, I was really strong in my younger years. And so through bodybuilding and sports and stuff, I, could overreact. And so I don't want to hurt anyone. So I'm not into it on a safety level. But, lots of people are into a little bit of that, and I'm not. It's just I'm not comfortable with it. So if you want it, find somebody that's kind of their kink, because they're going to treat you okay, and they're used to
right. It's going to be a safe experience.
It's like, I'll do it, but my heart's not in it. It's not going to fully satisfy you. So, nobody's kinks are 100% match, right? So doing lifestyle stuff gives you the opportunity to find people who satisfy a kink that your partner really isn't into, and actually reach a level of satisfaction. Same thing with, you get to indulge in fantasies. It's like, I love redheads. Desiree can dye her hair red, but it's not red. Same. It's not the same. Mm-hmm. So, that fantasy gets to come alive in a safe and an accepted way through the lifestyle activities. So,
and I think it makes our bond stronger, because we allow each other to like what we like and get what we get. So it makes a better relationship long term. We also just get to experience life and have fun without judgment.
I think that's a big thing, is without judgment. And Home's Room, like this podcast, is like predicated upon a judgment-free space, and like truly believing in like shame dies in safe spaces. So like that's what it's about. And I think that with a lot of the whole reason I'm even like doing these episodes and coming into my next season trying to get more lifestyle couples or people that are in the lifestyle on, is because it's everyday people, lawyers, doctors, teachers, like it doesn't matter. And those people are experiencing life in a way that they see fit, and it shouldn't matter whether this person agrees, that person agrees, this sort of thing. So getting more honest and like firsthand experiences out there for people to listen to is important. I just believe strongly in, if people hear it from the people that are involved and see that it's not, like this, they hate each other and they're just trying to get away from each other atmosphere. It's actually a loving environment. maybe it'll stop being such a like stigma where people are like worried about losing their job or, you know, whatever stupid like trope you can throw out there.
Yep. Our world was moving in a more sex positive way, but it seems to have been declining lately.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we can bring it back into being viewed as a different way.
Yeah. So wrapping this up, I asked my last guest, who was a hot wife, she was talking about her least favorite thing, and I had you guys on talking about your favorite thing, which is, you know, the ability to, you know, the variety is the spice of life, kind of, you know, quote, if you will. So I asked her at the end what her favorite thing was, and she told me. So I'm going to ask you, what's the worst thing that you've encountered in the lifestyle that like you would just be like, nope, I would change that in a heartbeat so it never happens again if I could?
So the worst part is when you're, you know, you start talking to people via text or online conversation, and the conversation seems to be going good, and then people just disappear. It's like there's no effort to salvage a connection. They're like, everybody's just like, nope, there's a million other things to do, and one little thing and they're just out. I'm like, yeah, but you know, I didn't like.
But you don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
the ghosting part's probably the worst, though. Yeah,
just because something's like, oh, I thought everything was going so well, and then these people just disappeared, and you're like, well, shoot, now you have all these, you know, anticipation and pre-fantasies of actually meeting face to face, and then for whatever reason they're just gone.
A lot of times I've learned it's because the couple's having issues, though.
Yeah,
but it's just not knowing initially. I don't care if you're having issues. That's life. Just be open and honest. I think a lot of people perceive it as a turnoff, or it would keep their people away, or who they're going to be with. But yeah, ghosting.
But putting effort into trying to make a connection with someone and then having them just disappear with no reason, and then not responding. Like, hey, if it's not working out, or somebody said something that didn't vibe well, just be like, hey, I just don't feel good. Great, that's all I want. Just give me a reason behind it so that you know, we know what the heck's going on. Be civil adults, and that's all you need.
Yeah, that sounds like a standard. Like, everybody should understand that not being cool at this point in the digital age, especially. So,
yeah, it's like, you know, we're all in the world where we're going to be naked in front of a bunch of people and strangers anyway. Why can't we just be honest with each other? You know, it's like, you can't hurt my feelings. If I'm not for you, that's fine. You know, if you don't like my word choices or my stance on things, just be like, hey, you're not for me. And I'm like, cool, moving on. You know, I'm not going to worry about it. You know? But yeah, that's the worst thing that sucks the most, is wasted time and effort for things that just don't happen.
Yeah. Understandable. Well, thank you both for being on. Like I said, these are kind of a short formatty bonus episode. I hope this will be post Christmas, maybe New Year's. I don't know. I don't remember what days the weeks are. I think this will be after Christmas, if I remember correctly. But either way, hope you both have a happy holiday, and everybody that listens, hopefully you had or will have a happy holidays, whatever it ends up being for you.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot.